Good morning, everyone. My name is Sapna, and today I'll be explaining the 10-point summary for the first case study, Turbulence at United Air. And the topic for it is organizational structure and employee behavior. United States faced a series of major public relation crises in 2017, mostly caused by employees enforcing rules and procedures in ways the public viewed rigid, insensitive, and unreasonable. The first major incident involved two teenagers wearing leggings who were denied boarding under United's employee travel dress code, sparking global concerns about fairness, consistency, and customer behavior. The third point is the public reaction intensified when United defended the legging decision on Twitter, emphasizing its strict dress code for travel perk passengers, raising questions about how clearly employees communicate rules. A more serious crisis occurred when Dr. David Dow was forcibly removed from an overbooked flight, leading to injuries, viral videos, and worldwide outrage that damaged the company's reputation. The Davao incident revealed concerns about United's denial of boarding procedures, where employees prioritized operational rules over passenger safety, dignity, and practical solutions to overbooking. Another controversy involved a wedding couple being removed from a Houston flight after a misunderstanding about seating that escalated because employees insisted on rigid rules enforcement rather than solving the issues calmly. In 2018, a tragic situation occurred when a passenger's dog died in the overhead bin after a flight attendant instructed the passenger to store the pet there, raising concerns about judgment and passenger communication. These repeated incidents suggested that United employees had limited flexibility, making it difficult for them to adapt rules to real-life situations or provide compassionate customer service when exceptions was reasonable. Employees themselves indicated that the airline's strict organizational structure and focus on efficiency restricted their ability to use discretion, which contributed to tense interactions and negative outcomes on passengers. Overall, the case highlights the need for a balance between enforcing necessary policies and allowing employees enough autonomy to use common sense, protect customer well-being, and avoid avoidable conflicts.
A very good morning to Dr. Exam. For question 7.1, organizational design refers to how jobs, authority, and responsibility are structured in an organization. There are 6 key concepts. First is work specialization, which means dividing tasks into specific jobs to improve efficiency. Second is departmentalization, where jobs are grouped, such as by function or product, to improve coordination. Third is the chain of command, which shows who reports to whom and ensure clear authority. Fourth is span of control, referring to the number of employees a manager can effectively supervise. Fifth is centralization and decentralization, which explains where decision-making authority is located either at the top management or shared with lower levels. Finally, formalization refers to how much rules and procedures guide employee behavior. Together, these 6 concepts help managers design an effective organizational structure. Thank you. For question 7.2, organizational design can be divided into traditional and contemporary designs. Traditional organizational design is characterized by a clear hierarchy, high formalization, and centralized decision-making. For instance, include functional and divisional structures. These designs are suitable for stable environments and are strongly controlled by our management. In contrast, contemporary organizational design focuses on flexibility, teamwork, and decentralization. For example, include team-based metrics and boundaryless organizations. These designs are more adaptable and are strongly influenced by external factors such as technology, competition, and environmental change. In the conclusion, traditional designs are influenced more by management control, while contemporary designs are influenced more by the external environment. That's all for me. Thank you.
So now I'm going to explain the strength of a simple structure. Their first strength is low operating cost. With fewer manager and less formalization, it makes them very cheaper and simpler to run rather than a functional structure. Their second one is fast decision making. Since their decisions are made by a single manager, it is way quicker than a functional structure, where they often require coordination across departments. Their last one is clear authority and communication, where employees report directly to one leader, reducing any confusion that may arise, whereas in functional structures, they have multiple departmental layers. Now, I'm going to explain the weaknesses of a simple structure. The first weakness is too reliant on one person. So unlike a functional structure where responsibilities are shared among specialists, simple structure depends heavily on one owner or one manager. So people become reliant on this manager or owner. The second weakness is limited specialization, where since an employee can perform multiple tasks, so they lack the deep expertise found in functional structures. The last one is poor scalability. So as the organization grows, the simple structures become inefficient, whereas a functional structure handles growth better through departmentalization.
Today I will contrast the design of a boundaryless organization and a structureless organization as discussed in Fundamental Management by Robbins, Coulter and DiCenzo. A boundaryless organization is designed to eliminate traditional boundaries such as hierarchy, departments, and even boundaries between organization and external stakeholders. Instead of a rigid structure, it relies on teamwork, collaborations, and networks. This type of organization is commonly found in large and dynamic companies where innovation and information sharing are critical. For example, companies like Google encourage employees from different departments to work together and also collaborate with external partners. In contrast, a structureless organization has little or no formal structure. There are very few rules, minimal hierarchy, and decision making is usually centralized in the owner or manager. This design is most suitable for small businesses or startup operating in simple environments. For instance, a small family-owned cafe often has flexible roles, a very few formal procedures, and decisions made directly by the owner. So in summary, although both designs reduce bureaucracy, their focus is different. A boundaryless organization removes boundaries to promote collaborations in large and complex organizations, while a structureless organization removes formal structure to maintain simplicity in small firms. Therefore, the choice of design depends on the size of the organization and the complexity of its environment.
Let's look at question 7.15 to contrast mechanistic and organic organizations. A mechanistic organization has a rigid and tightly controlled structure. As a result, it emphasizes high specialization and formalization as well as a clear chain of command where the employees are strongly guided by rules and procedures. And because managers oversee fewer employees, it has narrow spans of control which results in a taller organizational structure. For information, this type of organization works best in predictable environments such as government departments and fast food chains. In contrast, organic organizations are highly adaptive and flexible. Communication is more informal here, and the loose structure allows employees to respond quickly to changes in the external environment. Furthermore, with wider spans of control, organic organizations tend to have flatter structures. As an example, research and development, which is R&D, is an organic organization that relies on experimentation and problem solving. To conclude, mechanistic structures suit stability, while organic structures are ideal for dynamic environments. That's all from me. Thank you.
A very good morning to my beloved Dr. Anza and my fellow friends. Today I will be presenting my evolution of question 7 to 11 from the case study Turbulence at United Airlines based on the Fundamentals of Management textbook by Robbins, Coulter and DiCenzo. We will look at how United Airlines handled several major incidents and assess whether the airline was truly within its managerial rights in responding the way it did. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are looking at how United Airlines handled 4 major incidents that shocked the aviation world. Let's start with a quick overview. First, the lagging incident, where 2 teenage girls were denied boarding because of travel pass dress code. The response was technically by policy but extremely rigid for such a simple situations. Second, the infamous Dr. Dow incident. Here, rules about overbooking were enforced with unnecessary force causing global outrage. Third, a wedding couple was removed due to a seating misunderstanding, a problem that could have easily been solved with a clear communications. Finally, a passenger dog died after being placed in an overhead beam. The flight attendant misunderstood procedure, prioritizing rules instead of safety. Across all 4 incidents, one theme stands out. Rules were followed, judgment was not. Next, on this slide, we look at why United Airlines employees were technically within their organizational power. Yes, first, United Airlines had clear written policies. These include strict dress codes for United Pass travelers and formal overbooking rules. From a management perspective, this is a part of planning and formal policy creation, so the employees did what the policy told them to do. Second, the airline is a highly formalized organization. Robbins and Coulter explained that in a high formulation environments, employees have a very little discretion. They must follow the rules even when the rules don't fit the situations. That was actually what happened here. Third, United operates under a strong bureaucratic structure. Bureaucracy means rules over judgment. Employees fear consequences for breaking procedures, so they strictly follow hierarchy and instructions. In this incident, employees choose compliance over compassion because that's what the structure trained them to do. Lastly, United Airlines legal and procedure authorities supported their actions. From a managerial standpoint, the staff had to write on paper to remove passengers or enforce policy. So technically, yes, United employees acted within the boundaries of the company's rules. Now, let's look at the other side. Even if United Airlines followed rules, they handled the incident very poorly from a managerial and ethical perspective. First, the employees use poor judgment. Good managers and frontline staff must know when to use the flexibility. Instead of applying institutional leadership, they escalated a situation that could have been solved with empathy and communications. Second, there was a real customer harm. A passenger was struck and a pet died, and several customers faced emotional stress. Robbins and Coulter emphasized that customer focus is central in service operation, but United Airlines failed to protect the very people they serve. Third, United showed a major ethical failure. This is called ethical responsibility means respecting dignity, showing fairness, and upholding care. None of these principles were demonstrated. United prioritized efficiency and policy over humanity. Finally, this led to a massive reputation damage, social media backlash, lawsuits, and loss of trust globally. From a management perspective, this showed a failure in public relations, crisis management, and leadership communication. That's all for me. Thank you.
Moving on, let's analyze question 7.12 in detail, which is, how would you describe United Airlines' view of formalization? Do you think it's appropriate? Let's explain. Let's go. If we take a precise look at United Airlines' implementation of formalization, it's clear that the company operates under a strong set of rules, procedures, and policies. Employees undergo extensive training and practical assessments, and this heavily shape their actions, bringing both advantages and disadvantages, which we will explore in the subsequent slide. Keeping this in mind, employees tend to follow rules rigidly, delivering every piece of information to passengers with precision and meticulousness. They do this to maintain safety, efficiency, and legal compliance, as well as to reduce uncertainty in daily operations. However, despite these intentions, it's undeniable that a very high level of formalization can sometimes lead to negative consequences, particularly affecting passengers' well-being. At times, out of fear of being reprimanded by senior authorities, employees may follow policies blindly at the expense of human judgment and common sense. Certain incidents have shown that while the rules enforced were technically correct, the resulting actions sparked massive public outrage and caused significant backlash for United Airlines. In short, the company's strong formalization can be summarized as a double-edged sword. It's largely commendable as it ensures consistency and smooth operations across departments, but at the same time, the same rigidity can make employees less flexible when handling sensitive or unique situations, occasionally leading to negative perceptions of the company worldwide. First and foremost, the incident, which goes by the headline, "Teens denied boarding for wearing leggings," showcases that the employees have taken appropriate measures to tackle the situation. In the case of the teenagers who were not allowed to board, it's important to note that they were travelling under the airline's travel perks, not as regular paying passengers. Actually, United Airlines has a strict dress code policy that is clearly stated in its rules and procedures. This policy is designed to maintain fairness by ensuring that everyone who falls under the same category follows the same standards. For example, passengers are generally expected to dress appropriately, such as wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, aka smart casual, which is considered acceptable and aligns with the airline's guidelines. Thus, a standard dress code helps strengthen the professional image of United Airlines by creating consistency and reinforcing the company's commitment to presenting itself in a respectful and uniform manner. Therefore, the enforcement of their dress code in that situation was based on the specific rules for perk users rather than the general rules applied to the public. Overall, United Airlines appropriately uses its dress code to promote fairness, professionalism, and consistency across all passengers, especially those who travel under airline perks. Furthermore, the Dr. Dow incident that happened back in 2017 has become a controversial talk across the globe, and it's certainly understandable that the situation wasn't appropriately handled by the staff, as their actions were considered harsh. When we look at the incident involving Dr. Dow being forcibly dragged off a United Airlines flight, it becomes clear that none of the company's policies truly justify such an extreme action. While employees were strictly following procedures driven by the airline's high level of formalization, their actions lacked consideration for the passengers' well-being. This rigid adherence to rules led to severe and unacceptable consequences, including Dr. Dow suffering from a broken nose and concussion. It's crystal clear that the situation demonstrated how an overemphasis on policy can overshadow basic human judgment and empathy, ultimately damaging the company's reputation. To add salt onto the wound, what makes the incident more concerning is that alternative solutions were available but not considered at all. Some examples that would have avoided conflict and ensured Dr. Dow's safety include employees escalating negotiations, applying a more serious form of parley, or even rebooking the required crew members on a different flight. Ultimately, the poor decision-making that overlooks the aforementioned solutions simply highlights how excessively rigid formalization takes place in United Airlines. When rules are followed blindly without weighing customer well-being, the outcome can be both harmful and publicly damaging for the organization, like the incident of Dr. Dow. Moving forward to the next incident, it appears to be inappropriate to remove the wedding couple from the plane over seating dispute. In this situation, it's important to recognize that the wedding couple involved did not intend to steal any upgraded seats, and they sat there to avoid disturbing the person sleeping in a row where their seats were assigned. However, the way the situation was handled reflects a series of customer-unfriendly decisions. Instead of approaching the issue with flexibility and understanding, the response was rooted in a rigid system that left no room for human judgment or rational thinking. To make things worse, the involvement of the US Marshal further intensified the situation. The force used did not match the circumstances and ultimately mirrored an abuse of power, causing unnecessary distress and public outrage. In short, this incident serves as a strong reminder that while policies and procedures are crucial, they must be accompanied by empathy, common sense, and discretion. A more flexible system could have prevented the conflict and protected the dignity and safety of the passengers involved, but unfortunately, what's done cannot be undone. On top of that, those who know about this incident, all of them would definitely agree with me, saying that the actions taken by the employee involved are neither appropriate nor justifiable. The pitiful situation emphasizes on a dog that tragically died after being placed in an overhead compartment on a United Airlines flight, and it's crucial to fathom that no such policy ever existed. This has been confirmed by the company later that placing animals in overhead bins is strictly against their rules. In my opinion, a simple solution to resolve this matter is the employee could have simply placed the dog under the seat in a ventilated carrier. However, the employee ignored this correct procedure and enforced a completely wrong decision, reflecting a serious lapse in formalization. Consequently, what was intended to be a routine safety measure instead resulted in an unnecessary heartbreaking outcome. A policy that's meant to create a harmless and secure environment for passengers and their pets failed entirely due to improper judgment and a lack of adherence to established guidelines. This incident also highlights a deeper problem within the organization, that's insufficient training. The employees' actions indicate that they did not receive adequate instruction on handling in-cabin pets, passenger communication, or emergency decision-making. Overall, this tragic event shows how poor formalization and inadequate training can turn a preventable situation into a heart-wrenching loss. Not only that, but it's also a hefty lesson for United Airlines to reinforce the need for clearer procedures, stronger training programs, and greater accountability to ensure passenger safety and animal safety as well.
United Airlines should use an organic organizational structure. United Airlines should adopt an organic organizational structure because the airline industry requires flexibility, quick decision making, and human judgment. Overly strict rule-based systems have contributed to past public incidents. For the first point, flexibility in an unpredictable industry. Airlines face constant disruptions such as weather delays and passenger issues. An organic structure allows employees to adapt quickly instead of being restricted by strict rules. Moreover, employee empowerment. Past incidents occur because staff follow rules without using judgment. An organic structure empowers employees to make reasonable decisions, preventing unnecessary conflicts. For the next point, better customer service. Customer experience is crucial in airlines. Flexible decision making helps employees handle situations more humanly, improving satisfaction and company reputation. For the final point, stronger communication and teamwork. Airline operations require close coordination. An organic structure encourages open communication and faster problem solving, reducing delays and misunderstandings. To conclude this topic, an organic structure enables United Airlines to respond effectively to real-life challenges through flexibility, empower employees, improve service, and stronger teamwork.
Thanks to Arminat, I'm Yashini Kaliselvan. Today I'll be discussing question 714, which is what do you think United Alliance should do in the future and what suggestions or enhancement might you have for its organizational structure? Today, I'll be sharing 3 key recommendations on what United Alliance should do to keep moving forward. Based on Chapter 7 of Fundamentals of Management, the first one I will say United Alliance should shift to a more flexible, organic organizational structure. The incidents in the case study happened because employees were strictly following a rigid rules without considering customers' impact. An organic structure reduces unnecessary procedures and encourages adaptability. This allows employees to respond quickly and appropriately during unexpected situations. The second one is United should empower frontline employees with greater decision-making authority. Many problems occurred because staff were scared to break the rules, even when common sense was needed. By giving employees the autonomy to resolve issues such as reassigning seats or addressing complaints, United can prevent conflict from escalating and improve customer satisfaction immediately at the point of service. The third one, the company needs to build a strong customer-centric culture. Currently, their culture prioritizes rules enforcement over customers' experience. United must retain staff to prioritize empathy, communication, and service quality. Performance evaluation should reward customer satisfaction, not just compliance with the procedures. So in conclusion, by adopting a more flexible structure, empowering employees and strengthening customers' focused culture, United Alliance can prevent future crises and significantly improve its service reputation. Now, I will continue to share 3 key enhancements that United Alliance should make to its organizational structure. These suggestions are based on Chapter 7 as well, of Fundamental of Management, which focuses on organizational design and effectiveness. The first one I would say, United Alliance should decentralize authority, especially for frontline staff. Many of the incidents in the case occurred because employees felt they did not have the power to make decisions. By giving gate agent and flight attendants more autonomy, they can resolve customers' issues immediately without having to wait for approval from higher management. This leads to quicker, fairer decisions and prevents small problems from escalating into major conflicts. Second one is United should adapt to a more flexible organic structure. Right now, their system is too rigid and rule-oriented. Employers follow procedures even when the rules doesn't make sense in certain situations. A more organic structure reduces strict rules, encourages adaptability, and allows staff to use judgment when dealing with passengers. These shifts would help United respond more effectively to unexpected situations. The third one is the Alliance should strengthen communication across departments. Many conflicts happen because different teams such as operations, cabin crew, and customer service were not aligned. Improving cross-department communication ensures that everyone understands policies, customers' issues, and expectations consistently. This is not only reduces confusion but also creates a smoother and more coordinated service experience. So in the conclusion, decentralizing authority, increasing structure flexibility, and enhancing communication will allow United Alliance to operate more effectively and avoid the service failures seen in the past. These improvements will create a more customer-focused, responsive, and efficient organization. That's all from me. Thank you. Now I'll pass to Chia.
So let's start. So for this slide, actually, it says that the employee sections actually will serve as a mirror for an organization that needs, just like this. When others see what's your behavior of your employees, how your employees deals with the situations, how your employees do the things, how the employees solve those issues or the problems, and actually those outsiders or the people actually can see how the organization's ethics will looks like, just like this. If an employee did his or her job perform very well, then others may think that, whoa, this organization employees is very good and is very responsible, and also he treats the good job seriously, and he managed to do the jobs very well, and that's why. But while most of the airlines like the United, actually not only just the United, but only and also can be used from another flight company as well, just like the Malaysia Airline, AirAsia, Singapore Airline, and also the ANA, and many more of the flight company claim to prioritize the customer and aim to give the best service and also the customer experience. And I suppose that none of them wanted to create a, like, they also want the consumers to come back, right? To come and fly with them in futures. They don't want to be just the first, only the one time only experience, right? So the airlines have the strict rules to protect both their staff and also their passengers, which means that every flight company, they will have their rules and also the regulations to protect their both their staff and passengers' safety. Safety is very important, you know. So, but sometimes actually the employees they follow rules without using some common sense or just like using some intuitions, decision making, and the organization, and this shows that, or this appears that the organization seems to be very cold and also irresponsible, because now the employees just randomly follow all the 100% the rules, and they don't give any just like just based on the decisions or the conditions. Maybe some of them might need certain help or certain things from the company or the flight attendants, but just because of the rules, you know, all of them must follow the rules or the regulations set by the company, but now they can't give any things of that. All right, so this is the second slide, which is the continued part from the previous slide just now. And in this second slide, we will discuss about how might the United managers encourage employees to be more responsible and ethical even when the rules must be followed. So there are three, just like I conclude 3 points here. Maybe there are more, but I will focus on the 3 points here. The first one is the empowerment for the employees. This means that actually the flight company can give just some, you know, some that maybe they can let the employees to make some small decisions. Just like they may give maybe the upper managers, the top managers, the middle managers can give the employees some green light, not all, but green light to make some small, just like maybe autonomous decisions that actually can help the customers to solve the problems when they are in the flight, or just like they might, as long as the most important part is they can create a win-win situation for both the passengers and also both the flight company. So the flight company can solve the issue well without adjusting any things, but to the consumer itself or the customer itself, it can also solve their problems when they face what they are facing on that kind of that time. All right. So for the second part is the rewarding judgment. Instead of only punishing the employees when making any mistakes, all of us, because humans are not always right, right? Each of us, we of course do any mistakes, because we are not a perfect person in the world, and we might create several problems, we might facing some mistakes. Yeah. So instead of only punishing the mistakes, but manager actually can reward the employees when the employees did the good thing. And maybe when the employees shows the empathy and also the solve problems very creatively, and not just employees that only just know how to follow the rules, strictly follow the rules, just follow the SOP, but actually by showing the empathy and also to solve the problem creatively, actually both of them may solve the issues to be a win-win situation. Just like you agree with me, I agree with you, and none of us will like be unhappy. Just the most important one, because when go on the flight, right, or go on the trip, or when boarding onto the flight, none of them wanted to have a very bad experience, I think so. And each of us wanted to have a very memorable experience and don't want to create any issues. So for the third part is the leading through the example. Actually, the employees don't just always just listen to like the managers, the upper managers. They say that the upper manager may say that, oh, you only need to do like this, follow the operating measures, follow these rules, that rules. Yeah, all of them may listen to that. But if do they practicing? I think none of them will like just like practice all of these things just after listen to the things by the managers, and they will just actually if we compare between listen to what we hear about, or they watch, or actually the employees may watch how their managers do, you know. Just like we can actually the employees will have just like an example to follow when the managers how that to looks like how their managers perform in the daily task, or how their manager deals with this kind of situations, you know, when they experience this kind of problems in the real life situations. So when the leader acts with courage and also admits that, or just like when someone, or just like when the employees just simply follow a rules, that actually that rules will bring the inconvenience to the employees, or maybe cause the situation to be more harder. And it is the suitable time to use some of these intuitive decision making skills to combine both rules and also some intuitive decision making together, and to create a win-win situation for all of them. So when the employees see or refer their managers to do that, okay, that kind of things, and they can see by their eye and look by their eyes, and they can see how their managers solve that kind of problem themselves, and they will follow what their managers do when they are also experiencing the same kind of problem. And then the employees will feel safe to use their intuitions, decision-making skills when they also experience the same kind of problems as well. So that's all from me for these questions, and I will pass to the next friends. Thank you for.
Now, I'll be explaining the 10-point summary of the second case study, Liftoff. Topic, Learning Organization Knowledgeable Structures. NASA has a long history of remarkable achievements from the Apollo moon landing to the Hubble telescope, reflecting its commitment to exploring the unknown and advancing human knowledge. NASA's mission focuses on driving innovation in science, technology, aeronautics, and space exploration, all aimed at enhancing education, economic growth, environmental stewardship, and global understanding. After the end of the Space Shuttle program in 2011, NASA experienced a period of uncertainty regarding its identity and future direction, since the shuttle had been its main operational mission for decades. Despite this uncertainty, NASA had been setting new long-term goals, such as sending astronauts to the asteroids by 2025 and aiming for a human mission to Mars by 2030, demonstrating its commitment to future exploration. Achievements like the 2014 successful test flight of the Orion spacecraft highlights NASA's continuous progress and show the importance of its highly skilled and knowledgeable workforce. NASA functions with a highly complex environment involving advanced technology, multiple ongoing projects, and collaboration with numerous external stakeholders, both domestic and international. This complexity creates a challenge. NASA must find effective ways to share its vast knowledge resource across different teams, missions, and departments to support innovation and mission success. To manage knowledgeable effectively, NASA has developed numerous knowledge-sharing tools such as online collaboration portals, video libraries, searchable databases, lesson-learned systems, expert networks, and social exchange spaces. NASA's leaders recognize that managing knowledge is essential for maintaining its competitive advantage, supporting future measures, and ensuring organizational learning across all levels. Through its knowledge management efforts, NASA demonstrates that its organizational structure plays a crucial role in promoting communication, enhancing learning, and ensuring efficient use of knowledge resource for future missions.
A very good day to my lecturer. My name is Nishantini and my student ID is S2180970. I'm going to be presenting question 7-16. Would you call NASA as a learning organization? Why and why not? The segment we will look into is why. So number one, it actively manages its knowledge. Firstly, NASA actively manages its knowledge. It collects knowledge from past missions, experiments, and projects and store it in the database, reports, and lesson learned systems. So this will allow the employees to access proven solution, avoid repeating mistakes, and improve decision making. So the next is identifying knowledge by sharing activities. Secondly, NASA focuses on identifying knowledge sharing activities. It encourages engineers and scientists to share what they know through their meetings, workshops, forum, community of practice, and cross-project discussion. So these activities will actually help them to transfer expertise between teams and projects, especially when missions are complex and involve many departments. Moving on to the next point, which is learning from experiments and past missions. NASA learns by reviewing past missions, including major projects like the Apollo missions, Space Shuttle, and the International Space Station, by studying what worked well and what did not. So NASA improved its planning, technology, and safety measures. So these analyses will actually help NASA to avoid their mistakes and apply their lesson which they have learned to make the future missions more successful. So lastly but not the least, which is encourage collaboration and expertise sharing. So NASA brings together experts from different technical fields such as engineering, science, and technology to work on a very complex missions. So throughout this teamwork, meetings, and shared system, NASA facilitates knowledge exchange between the teams, allowing ideas and expertise to be shared across projects and improving overall missions performance. Why not? So the number one point is limited knowledge flow across project. So despite having knowledge systems, NASA still faces challenges in managing and transferring knowledge across different projects. In the Space Shuttle program, some important lessons were not fully shared or applied across the teams, leading to repeated issues. So this shows that knowledge can remain within the specific projects, limiting organizations' wide learning. So next is high organizational and technical complexity. NASA operates in a very extremely complex environment involving advanced technology, multiple missions, and many specialized teams. So because of this complexity, NASA sometimes struggles to achieve a united organization-wide learning structure. So it does make it very difficult to coordinate and apply knowledge consistently across all departments and as well as projects. Lastly, risk and pressure may limit open learning. So NASA missions involve very high risk, huge cost and human lives as well. So which creates intense pressure to avoid mistakes. So as a result, employee may be less willing to be experiment or openly challenge decisions, limiting learning to trial and error compared to less risky organization. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
My name is Hope Shabira and my matrix number is 25006231 and I'll be presenting question 717. In what ways is NASA's environment complex? NASA's environment is highly complex for several reasons. First, NASA faces rapid and constant technological change. NASA is defined by its position at the frontier of science and engineering, constantly navigating a landscape of rapid and constant technological changes. This continuous emergence of new technologies and advanced materials necessitates that the organization must continuously update its fundamental structures, operational processes, and overall technical capabilities. This persistent need for adaptation is crucial for the agency to remain effective, relevant, and a leader in the space exploration and research. Next, NASA's missions involve interdependent tasks and cross-functional teamwork. NASA's missions are complex where success depends on the flawless interaction of numerous interdependent functional units. Teams involved in engineering, safety, logistics, communication, and operations must work together seamlessly because failure in any single unit can cascade, compromising the entire mission. To manage this, NASA often utilizes a matrix organizational structure which pools resources but significantly increases the complexity of coordination and conflict resolution. This high degree of technical and organizational interdependency drastically increases the management overhead required for successful mission execution. Another factor is NASA's highly specialized and technical work. NASA's missions require deep expertise across highly specialized fields, including robotics, physics, biology, and advanced computer science. Coordinating these specialists is exceptionally challenging because the work is extremely knowledge-intensive, creating knowledge and communication barriers between disciplines. This complexity is compounded by the non-existent margin for error in space exploration, demanding an absolute premium on precision and uncompromising integration. Consequently, specialized roles like system engineers are vital for translating deep technical requirements and ensuring all parts function as a unified, flawless system. Next, NASA also manages a large number of simultaneous missions. This includes satellite launches, astronaut programs, planetary exploration, and aeronautics research. Each mission involves many teams and departments, which increases the need for careful planning, coordination, and resource management. Finally, NASA must deal with multiple and diverse stakeholders. NASA operates under the direct accountability to the US government, Congress, and policymakers who provide funding and strategic direction. To execute its expansive mission, the agency collaborates globally with scientists, international agencies, and private companies. It also maintains a vital relationship with the public. Ultimately, NASA's principal challenge is effectively managing the diverse and often conflicting goals and expectations held by this entire extensive stakeholder community. Overall, these factors contribute to why NASA's environment is one of the most complex among modern organizations.
Thank you, Hope. My name is Rebecca Rani and my matrix number is 25006680. I'm going to be discussing question 718, which is on how complexity affects structural choice. The first point is high complexity pushes organizations towards an organic and flexible structure. When an organization faces high levels of uncertainty, rapid changes, and complicated tasks, a rigid mechanistic structure becomes too slow and restrictive. Complex environments require flexibility, adaptability, and quick responses. NASA's work involves constant technological innovation, unpredictable mission requirements, and evolving space-related challenges. Because of this, NASA cannot depend on strict rules and tightly controlled structures. It must use a more organic and adaptive design to handle unexpected changes during missions and research. And my second point is complex tasks require collaboration across multiple departments and expertise. The more complex a task is, the more different skills and knowledge areas are needed to solve it. This means organizations must break departmental walls and encourage cross-functional teamwork. Every NASA mission, for example, Mars rovers, satellite launches, and human spaceflight, requires scientists, engineers, IT specialists, safety teams, and contractors to work together. NASA encourages cross-team communication through forums, joint workshops, and shared platforms because no single department can handle missions alone. My next point is complexity increases the need for fast and accurate knowledge sharing. In complex environments, knowledge becomes one of the most important resources. Organizations must ensure information travels quickly to the right people so decisions can be made efficiently. NASA created knowledge portals, expert databases, video archives, and collaborative online sites to make sure mission teams can immediately access lessons learned, technical updates, and expert advice. This rapid information flow helps NASA avoid repeating mistakes and respond faster during missions. The next point is strict rules become less effective as complexity increases. Mechanistic structures rely heavily on rules, procedures, and formal reporting. But in complex environments, this slows down problem solving and reduces the organization's ability to innovate. Instead of relying only on rigid procedures, NASA uses more flexible methods like informal conversations, peer-to-peer learning, storytelling, open forums, and experience sharing events. These approaches help NASA adapt quickly when unexpected issues arise during space missions or development work. The last point is complexity requires decentralized, expertise-driven decision-making. When issues are highly technical or unpredictable, decisions must be made by experts closest to the situation, not by distant top management. Decentralizing decisions increases accuracy and speed. NASA empowers location experts, mission specialists, and engineering teams to make technical decisions because they have the best understanding of the situation. This decentralization allows NASA to react quickly during mission changes and reduces delays that would happen if decisions were overly centralized. Thank you.
Lastly, I'm Shakira and I'm going to explain question 719, which is, using Exhibit 712, what suggestion would you make to managers at NASA about being a learning organization? So, a little bit information about Exhibit 712, which basically explains about the 4 characteristics of a learning organization, which are organizational design, information sharing, leadership, and organizational culture. Organizational design emphasizes a boundaryless and team-based structures where employees are empowered to collaborate across departments and organizational levels. Next, open, timely, and accurate information sharing enables knowledge to flow freely throughout the organization. And leadership plays a key role by creating a shared vision and encouraging collaboration rather than strict control. At the same time, strong organizational culture built on trust, care, and strong relationship, as well as a sense of community, allows employees to communicate openly. So on to the answer for the question 719. I will be making suggestions based on the 4 characteristics of the learning organizations. So for the first characteristic is organizational design. My first suggestion is to minimize the barriers between departments and lower level and higher level employees. My second point for this characteristic is to empower employees to make choices and making them feel less pressured. On to the second characteristic, information sharing. My first point for this is to form teams from different departments for a specific project. My second point is to provide sharing sessions where employees from different fields share ideas and informations. My last point for this characteristic is to make data reviews and research finding easy to access and read for employees from any level. On to the third characteristic, which is leadership. My first point for this one is to motivate and award employees who work efficiently and effectively. Provide supportive feedbacks rather than harsh criticism. The last point is help employees feel passionate about their work and not just by their salary. Onto the last characteristic, which is organizational culture. My first point is build a sense of community, not just a workplace, and friendly, supportive, and positive work environment. That's all. Thank you so much.